The dark mirror of human nature, the narrative of desire and destruction in William Shakespeare's Macbeth. Introduction: crossing the threshold of classics, encountering the stories within ourselves. Sometimes, when we hear the word classic, we instinctively shrink back. For some reason, these works often seem difficult, boring, and irrelevant to our lives, especially when they are centuries-old Western literature. Yet surprisingly, within the pages of these enduring classics lies deep, timeless stories that anyone with a human heart can deeply resonate with. Like mirrors, they illuminate our inner selves and help us understand the world in which we live with powerful insight. Today, I would like to open the door together with you to Shakespeare's great tragedy, Macbeth. This work is not a dusty old tale from the past, rather, it is a sharp insight into the dark shadow of human nature that continues to unfold around us in the present and perhaps even within our own hearts. Don't worry if you think yourself lacking in knowledge or erudition. Macbeth does not require a deep understanding of literary devices or historical context. If you simply focus on the human heart while reading, its story will reach you with more intensity than any other. Through this article, we will explore the story contained in Macbeth and its meaning and implications for us today. Please come along with an easy, open heart, as if watching a fascinating film or reading an intriguing novel. Main content: 1. The tragedy of blood and madness in Scotland, the main plot of Macbeth. Macbeth is a short but intense and powerful tragedy. The story begins when Macbeth, a brave general of Scotland, encounters 3 witches on his way home after winning a significant battle. The witches whisper a foreboding prophecy to Macbeth: you are the Thane of Glamis and the Thane of Cawdor, and you will become king. This prophecy stirs the dormant ambition within Macbeth's heart like oil poured onto a waiting flame. Soon after, Macbeth learns that he has been made the Thane of Cawdor, and thus the first part of the witch's prophecy comes true. Encouraged by Lady Macbeth, who stirs his hidden desire for power, Macbeth then plots to seize the final part of the prophecy, the throne, by committing an awful crime, killing the current king, Duncan, who is their guest. In the dead of night, Macbeth, filled with hesitation and guilt, takes up his sword and heads toward King Duncan's chamber. Obsessed by the hallucinatory vision of a blood-stained dagger, he ultimately slays the faithful and loyal king. This heinous crime thrusts Macbeth and Lady Macbeth into an abyss of guilt and madness from which they can never escape. After ascending the throne, Macbeth is tormented by constant fear that his crime will be exposed, leading to growing paranoia. He believes that Banquo, a loyal friend who had previously received another prophecy from the witches, poses a threat to his position and orders his murder. Though he also attempts to kill Banquo's son, the boy escapes. From there, Macbeth's madness deepens, and he begins to murder even the innocent, fearing betrayal. Notably, because of his suspicion that Macduff is loyal to Duncan's son, he brutally slaughters Macduff's wife and children. As Macbeth sheds more blood, his heart becomes increasingly desolate, and his circle is gradually emptied. Lady Macbeth, too, suffers from unbearable guilt and develops insomnia, scrubbing her hands in a hallucination, trying to wash away imaginary bloodstains, until she eventually takes her own life. Meanwhile, angered by Macbeth's tyranny, the Scottish nobles and Duncan's son, Malcolm, prepare to wage war against Macbeth with the help of England. Confident in the witch's prophecy that no man born of woman shall harm Macbeth and Macbeth shall never vanquished be until great Birnam wood to high Dunsinane hill shall come, Macbeth feels invincible. However, the rebel army cleverly disguises themselves by carrying branches from the forest, creating the illusion that the woods are moving. Macduff reveals that he was untimely ripped from his mother's womb, born via caesarean section, and challenges Macbeth to a final showdown. Macbeth is ultimately slain by Macduff, and Scotland is restored to peace. In this way, Macbeth vividly portrays the tragic downfall of a hero blinded by ambition and the destruction of himself and those around him. Main content: 2. The implications of Macbeth, a deep insight into human nature. Macbeth is not just an old story. Even today, it poses profound questions about our lives and society and provides powerful implications. 1. Uncontrollable desire and its destructive consequences. Greedy is the root of all sins. Macbeth was not inherently evil to begin with, he was a brave and loyal general. However, under the influence of the witch's prophecy and the encouragement of Lady Macbeth, his repressed desire for kingship grew out of control. A small desire became the spark that led to the horrific crime of murder, creating a vicious cycle where each subsequent crime led to greater crimes to cover up the previous ones. This warning is not limited to the desire for power. Macbeth reminds us of the dangers that arise when our desires for wealth, fame, beauty, or the approval of others become unchecked and consumed by greed. In our world, we can easily find examples where minor illegalities or shortcuts gradually lead to larger crimes, or a single wrong decision results in an irreversible downfall. This play challenges us with the fundamental question: how should I control the desires within me? 2. The invisible chains of guilt and conscience. After committing murder, Macbeth and Lady Macbeth cannot have a peaceful night. Macbeth is tormented by hallucinations and sleeplessness, and no matter how many times he washes his hands, he feels they remain stained with blood. Lady Macbeth, too, is plagued by sleepwalking and the compulsion to scrub her hands in her dreams. This symbolizes the far more terrifying punishment of conscience than the physical crime itself. Macbeth illustrates the universal truth that everyone who commits a crime must pay the price. Even if the cost is not external punishment, the burden of our conscience and guilt will persistently torment us. This play powerfully reminds us that even the smallest lie or act of injustice, initially overlooked, can accumulate and etch itself into our hearts, eventually leading to a sickened soul and destruction. 3. The nature of power and its corruption. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. When Macbeth ascends the throne, his rule is stained by fear and tyranny. He plots to eliminate anyone he suspects might threaten his rule, distrusts his most loyal advisors, and brutally slaughters innocent citizens. This vividly demonstrates how absolute power can destroy an individual's character and transform a society into a hell. Historically, many dictators and tyrants have followed the same path as Macbeth, often beginning with good intentions. However, the allure of power and the compulsion to maintain it have turned them into monstrous figures devoid of humanity. Macbeth reminds us of the dangers of power and how unchecked authority can easily lead to moral decay. It also subtly underscores the reason democratic societies emphasize the need for citizens to monitor and critique power, a principle that Shakespeare articulated centuries ago. 4. Fate or free will. The weight of choice. Were the witch's prophecies the deciding fate of Macbeth, or were they merely catalysts that awakened his inner desires? Shakespeare does not provide a clear answer. Macbeth had the choice to reject the prophecy and remain a valiant general. Instead, he made the evil choice and was destroyed by the consequences. This section offers a crucial lesson for us. In life, we often face predictions, temptations, or external pressures. We may excuse our actions by blaming these circumstances. Yet, Macbeth emphasizes that in the end, choosing is our own responsibility, and the consequences of our choices are entirely ours. Our lives are not passively determined by external prophecies or fate, but rather by the sum of our conscious choices made each moment, through the power of our free will. 5. The difference between appearance and reality, deception and hypocrisy. Fair is foul, and foul is fair. The opening line of The Witches encapsulates one of the central themes of Macbeth. On the surface, the seemingly loyal subject Macbeth is actually a traitor who murdered the king, and behind the scenes of a grand banquet lies a terrible conspiracy. This play calls us to look beyond appearances and to see the truth hidden beneath the surface. Often in the world, beautiful facades may hide ugliness, or unassuming appearances may conceal true value. When judging people or social phenomena, Macbeth teaches us to strive beyond binary thinking and to adopt a multi-layered perspective in order to understand the essence of things. Conclusion: Macbeth, a mirror to our lives. Dear readers, through Shakespeare's Macbeth, we have explored the tragic downfall of a hero and reflected on the dark aspects of human nature, the corrupting influence of power, the weight of guilt, and the importance of choices. Certainly, Macbeth is a harsh and dark story. But precisely because of this darkness, It becomes a mirror reflecting the complex truths of our lives. Reading this play is not merely about engaging with an old tale. It also gives us the opportunity to confront our own desires, empathize with others' suffering, and deeply reflect on the justice and injustices of the society in which we live. This opportunity to expand our perspective and illuminate the world is more powerful than any academic lecture or intellectual knowledge. If you think to yourself, "I am lacking in knowledge and erudition," then now is the perfect time to pick up Macbeth. If Shakespeare's language or the historical context feels daunting, try a well-explained translation, or even a play or film adaptation. What matters most is the process of applying the questions posed by the work and its messages to our own lives and finding our own answers. Ultimately, Macbeth presents us with eternal questions: what does it mean to be human? And what choices will I make in my life? Through the act of reading, this powerful tragedy offers a precious opportunity for self-reflection and growth. I sincerely hope that the fire of wisdom and insight will be ignited within your hearts through this intense tragedy. Crossing the threshold of classics, it's now time for the story of your life to begin.